I am Iron Body.
I am Iron Body.
I am Iron Body.
Get in Santa Monica, down and out again in Philadelphia. From out and I passed out. I finally lost control of myself in this enchanted place of self-control. More I tried it, more I seemed to let it go. Breathe in and breathe out. I finally lost control of my life. Did I get?
I'm Jaime Martinez, and you're watching Let the Mic Drop, Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on Let the Mic Drop. We have a very special guest this week. She's the voice, the female voice here in South Texas. We know her from Houston all the way to the Rio Grande Valley. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got Karina Giselle joining us this week. Karina, how you doing this week?
I'm good, Ray. How's it going? So happy to be joining you today, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much again for joining us. I'm really glad that I finally get to speak with you. I've interacted with you just high and by for the last 2 years, I think it is, from
So, yeah.
Corpus to Houston. It's just a high and by friendship type of thing. But now we get to sit down and actually talk to each other. What you like about the wrestling industry, what you really want, what everybody, all the fans want to know, what made you become an announcer? We all started off as fans. Now, what? That's the hard question. What made you become a ring announcer?
I like how you started off with that because it's like you said, we all start off as fans. I've been a wrestling fan since maybe I was about 5 years old. My dad was the one who originally got me into it. I knew growing up I always wanted to do something with pro wrestling. However, I was always discouraged from actually getting into the ring. My family pushed a lot of education. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to fulfill my dream of becoming a pro wrestler. And so instead of that, I ended up going to college. I got my bachelor's from Texas A&M Kingsville back in 2016, and then my master's once again from Texas A&M Kingsville in 2018. So I ended up getting that in speech language pathology, but I still had that drive to do something in pro wrestling. Along the way, I met some friends who introduced me to the world of independent professional wrestling. And because of that, I would do a lot of traveling all over the state. And so, but as a fan, right, to go see different promotions, I started off back then, it was Wrestling Revolution, which is now kind of spread apart into, got New Breed, I believe, Make a Difference Wrestling, and TWL down in the Valley. And
Yeah.
then from there, um, went to an indie show in Kingsville, and then COVID happened, right? And so wrestling was kind of done for a little bit. And then once COVID ended, I know it's kind of coming back, but I feel like the indie wrestling scene in Texas kind of just boomed, right? And I would travel all over the place. And there was a show, I believe last April 2022, that I went to with my friend Julio, right? Julio Vasquez from Wrestle Vlogs. Uh,
Yes.
we're from pretty much the same area, the 956, which is why I go by the Princess of the Real 956. Sorry to rub you there, Laredo.
No, no,
Love.
no. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
And so we were
But yeah, I
traveling.
remember when Julio would take you around everywhere, and he would drive you, and like it was like something like you all created your own little scene together to create
Yes.
something special.
Yes. And so we just decided, hey, we're essentially from the same area. We're going to travel. And we ended up going to that April Loco. And on that car ride, we got to talking. And so Julio was like, hey, I know you've expressed some interest in ring announcing. We've got a show coming up in Harlingen. It's a free lucha pop up show. Would you be interested in trying announcing out like that? And I said, you know what? Now's my chance to just try it out. If I don't like it, then at least I can say that I tried it. So did that, I believe, April 30th of that same year. So not even like 2 weeks later. And then the rest is history. Now I've been blessed to be granted opportunities to announce all over the state, and I love what I do. So, yeah.
I know you boomed literally from one day to the next. You became, like I said, the princess of ring announcing because it's hard to do what you do standing in front of a bunch of people that you don't know and you're talking and you're yelling and you're screaming and the fan part of you wants to cheer and yell and scream like you did before, but now you're actually working into like what's going on. How do you distinguish fans to like, okay, it's go time, it's business savvy time, let's go to work type of deal?
So I kind of try to channel in my job as a speech pathologist to where, like, say, for example, outside of the work setting, I'm a lot less professional, right, than, say, for example, going into my job as a school SLP. So having that background really helped me to, okay, I can be a fan outside of any promotion that I'm working at. But once I step into not even the ring, but rather the doors of that venue, it's like, okay, now it's go time. Need to put on a professional perspective. And don't get me wrong, right? Like, if I'm watching a match that I'm super into or my friends are wrestling, I'll still cheer them on, right? But it's just all about maintaining that sense of professionalism, and of course, matching the energy, whether it be like a kid-friendly show. Okay, I can't be, cussing these guys out or anything like that, versus more adult-friendly, then I can get a little bit more into it, so to speak. So that's kind of how I differentiate between a fan and an announcer.
That's really really incredible to hear, like I'm telling you, because not a lot of people get to hear what's going on the backside of the back burner, like what really goes on behind the scenes of getting to know you. With that being said, you've announced plenty of matches all over Texas. One name that comes to mind that you're like, oh man, this guy's barely starting out. He's an indie star right now, but wait to the next level, the one next big promotion, like that's gonna give him a spot. Who's the guy or the girl that you think like, oh, that's the next big thing coming out of Texas?
The next big thing coming out of Texas. It's funny you mentioned that. I'm going to go ahead and give it to one of my favorites, Brian Keith. He's got a match coming up, I believe, this Friday. I know it was
Definitely, yeah.
recorded on AEW, right? Rampage. And so he's going to be facing, I believe, Hangman
Adam
Adam Page.
Page, yeah.
So that was just so special to see, considering that I do work with him with Loco Wrestling. I've worked with him in New Texas. And of course, we do have a lot of booming talent. Of course, Laredo's own sweetheart, Roxy. She's now in the WWE. Ninja Mac, Dante Leon, gracing the stages there in Tokyo, Japan. If not all over Japan, they're in Pro Wrestling Noah. I think really and truly that Texas is a hot spot for independent wrestling right now, and there's a lot of opportunity.
And with also like Brian Keith is one heck of a wrestling guy. Like when you do strong style, oh my God, that's like his favorite thing to do. If you hit him, he wants you to hit him hard and harder because that motivates him, that drives him. Have you ever seen how intense he gets when his matches are going?
Yes, definitely. And now talking about that intensity, sometimes I have to be careful, right? Whenever I'm getting in and out of the ring, because whether it be Brian Keith or any other competitor, it's like there's been times where I've almost gotten hit. And but yeah, Brian Keith, I will definitely say he's just one hell of a performer, and he brings it every single time.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express. And when it comes to wrestling and you need gear and you need your instruments to play your band, listen to me. I only go where the best is. And I go to Laredo to Aces Boots. Check these right here out, man. Good wrestling boots, and they last forever. Don't send your money out of the country to get a pair of boots. Just send it to Laredo. It's Ace Boots Company. Have a good night.
Santa Monica, down and out again in Philadelphia. Strung out and I passed out. I finally lost control of myself, and this chatter gets a self-control. More I tried it, more I seem to let it go. Breathe in and breathe out. I finally lost control of my life. Did I get?
This is Tessa Blanchard, the first ever female world heavyweight champion, and you're watching Let the Mic Drop.
Now, who is like the main top guy that you've announced for and you're like, wow, I can't believe that I'm actually doing this, that I'm actually announcing for X wrestler? And who's the next big name that you want to announce for coming up?
So as far as the top guy, I'm going to have to say now AEW Superstar Commander. He was definitely one of my favorites. Getting to announce him was an absolutely wonderful experience, getting to know him behind the scenes, backstage. It was just a dream come true, honestly. And then now seeing him grace the stage on AEW, just a really good feeling like, wow, I was one of his last shows, and rather announced him at one of his last shows before he got onto AEW, and now almost a year later. It's just so cool. I think for me, my dream competitor to announce, it's going to be one of my all-time favorites, a friend of mine, TJ Perkins, who will be performing for GCWA next Friday, September 8th. And so I'm a little bit jealous, Anthony Silvas, so go out there and rock it, which I know you're going to do amazing. But yeah, that's definitely my dream person to announce.
And he's also going to be in San Antonio for Branded Outlaw soon. So you never know. You might be able to get the opportunity if they start, looking for an announcer. I haven't been to Branded Outlaw in a while, but I know that he's going to be there as well.
Hey, that's news to me. Well, I will definitely check that out, whether it be as a fan, maybe an announcer, who knows?
Okay. Did you ever base your announcing style off of anybody? Like, I know that if I was ever an announcer, I would want to, like, wear a circus outfit like the guy from Wrestle Circus. I forget his name, but he was so good on the microphone. He had long hair, a beard, and he would wear a top hat at times, but he had a muscle shirt. And
Yes.
I forget his name, what it was, but he was so good, and I was always such a big fan of going to the Wrestle Circus shows just to watch the announcing.
That is so cool. I know I had only been to Wrestle Circus one time. That was when I initially began traveling, throughout Texas to, catch these shows and things like that. But Wrestle Circus was a phenomenal promotion. May it rest in peace. I would definitely say inspiration-wise, got to give it to my girl Lillian Garcia, just to see another Latina killing it in the WWE. I not so much used her as a specific style, but rather an inspiration. She just inspired me to really get into this field. And as a Latina, it just makes me so proud.
Okay, this one's easy. Um, with a lot of people signing with the big name promotions, of course, Ninja Mag, Dante Leon, Noah. This is just to name a few. I know that I might miss a couple. Roxy's in WWE. Brian Keith just had a tryout on AEW. Alvaro Riojas, he's on AEW on the Spanish announce team. If they were to come knocking on your door, would you accept?
Absolutely. I think that's almost a given. My dream is to one day make it on the big stage. However, if I don't, that's okay. I'm just happy to be doing what I'm doing right now. Although life balancing can be a little bit difficult sometimes between SLP, ring announcing, it can be a challenge sometimes, but absolutely, if somebody were to come knocking on my door, I would take the opportunity in a heartbeat.
I think you're already on one of the biggest stages that there is local wrestling, which is watched on Title Match, and they're watched worldwide because now you got Game Changer Wrestling coming in, and then I just heard an announcement that XPW is going to come in. I mean, so you're being watched. So hopefully one day it happens. But
Hopefully soon.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I've seen you all throughout your travels and stuff like that. And what's the most thing that you're like, oh man, I gotta go out, but I'm gonna have fun. But when it's time to cool back down from all the excitement, the adrenaline, what is it that keeps you balanced?
That's kind of a tough one. I always feel like I'm always on the go, whether it be in wrestling, the shoot job, anything like that. I know kind of something random that keeps me balanced, but just knowing that I can come home to my dog. His name is Goose. I kicked him out. He's in the other room, but he keeps me going. He keeps me calm. He keeps me sane. Um, but as far as any additional things that help keep me balanced, I think really and truly it's just the whole reasoning why I did this, to do what I love. And, I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. At least I hope so. So, yeah.
That's good that you don't see yourself stopping because I'm telling you, I've seen you travel as a fan, and then with Julio, and then with the other group of guys that y'all were having a good time. Like this wasn't a hobby anymore. It was having a great time with your friends and hanging out and enjoying yourself. And then you started announcing, and like you said, this is not a thing that you're gonna turn off next week. Like your main goal is to try to get somewhere, try to get seen some more. What is it that the next big promotion in Texas and then outside of Texas that you would want to announce for? Because doors are opening, especially for the people in Texas. Like
Hmm.
it's so fun watching the next guy, the next girl getting taken from Texas. I mean, we've seen Hyann on Ring of Honor,
Hmm.
like I said, Roxy, um, Promise Braxton right now, and our reality of wrestling. A lot of stuff is happening for the women as well, just like the guys. So that is also, I think, a driving force, not only for me. Like I'm telling you, I'm a small part in this wrestling business compared to you. You get to announce, you get to talk to the people backstage, you get to be part of the show, and people yell at you and people praise you. I mean, this is really awesome, and I wish you nothing but the best. But
Thank you
like,
so much.
where are you wanting to go next? Because local to me, you're at a really high pedestal in the
Uh-huh.
wrestling business because everybody's watching. Now, like, what is it that you want to go to next? Like, what's not the end game, because the end game is
Right.
somewhere signed by somebody on TV. But like, what's your next step? Like Colorado, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, New York. Like, what is it? Like the next big promotion that you want to go to?
I think for me, the next big promotion that I would like to go to and announce for would be the Scenic City Invitational. And that is a yearly tournament held in typically Chattanooga, Tennessee, or around the surrounding areas. And so, what it is, it's a tournament, 2-night tournament featuring 16 competitors. And so, they compete for the Scenic City Invitational, really tournament winner. I've been lucky enough to go twice before. And so it was really cool. I actually got to announce a name that competed in the SCI Futures Tournament about, I believe, 2 years ago, Robert Martyr. I meet him backstage because I didn't have a chance to talk to him back whenever I went to Tennessee 2 years ago, I talked to him backstage and I was like, oh, hey, like, it's just so cool to work with you. I was there whenever you won the Futures tournament. And he was like, oh my gosh, like, that was one of the highest points in my career. So just to build those connections and to branch outside of Texas. I know some other names that I have seen at SCI are Matt Riddle, before he got into WWE.
Mhm.
Daniel Garcia was also there whenever I was there. One of my favorites from SCI out of Canada, Daniel Makabe, which I'm hoping and praying he gets booked in Texas. And I know I swear I tell him every single time, like he posts something on Instagram, I'm like, bro, we need to get you booked in Texas. I think it would just be so cool to grace that stage, but then to also open up the doors for those guys to also compete in Texas and, show Texas a little bit something different. I'm all about bridging, those two worlds. So yeah.
Now that you bring up Robert Martyr, he just wrestled at this past local show. He got hit so hard in one of the finishing moves. I'm not gonna like ruin the finish, but that boy can take a beating. Seeing it up
Yes.
close rather than sitting in the stands, I was like, my God, this boy can take a beating like none other. And I mean, I have
Yeah.
nothing but praise for him. Like I was like, wow, like, and I could tell that he was hurting, but he still fought through the pain. And I was like, man, this guy can dish it out and take it.
And it was a little bit scary because I mean I saw it. I mean, hey, things happen, right? But I actually went to the back to make sure he was okay because I mean ultimately, yes, I just met him, but he was one of my favorites. So I am a little biased. But yes, he was okay and he handled it like a champ. I mean, I don't think I could have taken a bump like that, but props to him for not only taking it, but to actually be okay. That says a lot about him. And I hope he's recovering well, right? And I mean, on
Yeah.
top of the bump, it was literally, I know it was called Loco Wrestling Presents the Boiler Room, but it was literally a boiler room in there because it was so hot. So that also played a factor into it.
And I mean, it is the boiler room, but there's actually AC in there. But the hype, the excitement of so many people yelling, screaming, jumping up and down, it starts getting hot and then hotter and then hotter. And then before you know it, by the time some of the main event matches, the main event matches start, it is so hot in there that it becomes the boiler room. With
Yes,
your
I
experience
agree.
with Loco, every the bar keeps getting set higher and higher and higher from the beginning matches to the end matches. What's been your favorite match so far from local wrestling?
Favorite match so far from Loco
You can
Wrestling.
pick one. We're just
Oh
gonna
my,
go with one for right now.
you know what? I don't even think I have a favorite match. And I really say that because Loco Wrestling, and I'm totally not being biased just because I do work for the company, but I just feel like with every match, they bring it. Everything is just on point. It's, very high action, very high emotion, everything. So I really and truly love everything that the guys that, once they compete at Loco, it's just so hard to even choose.
Yeah, I mean it's understandable because
Yeah.
everything is so like, oh, I like this and I like this from that match and I like so many things that are going on in that one night, not in one match, in that one night that you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I love this atmosphere. I love the fans. I
Yeah.
love how they get rowdy. I love the promoter. I love the people in the working the background. I mean, everything about local wrestling is something special.
Mhm.
Where else have you been that you're like, man, I love this crowd because I know where you've been, like I said, in Corpus, Kingsville, the Valley. Like, what's your next second best next to local? Like, where do you like see yourself? Hey, I can go with family and just chill and have a good time.
I will definitely give it to Corpus. Well, I'll give it to one of two. So GCWA in Corpus, although I haven't had the opportunity to announce for them yet. I would like to. However, Anthony Silvas, he's a phenomenal announcer. He's doing wonderful. I always like the environment of GCWA because it's so welcoming. Getting to know the Galvan family over the years, they just put on a great product, and I'm definitely looking forward to going to their event next Friday as a spectator. So definitely GCWA. One of my other favorites, my Monday night favorite, I've got to show some love to the VSR Arena, for the love of wrestling, where I have had the opportunity to not only work with them, but get just to immerse myself in the love of the fans. I mean, really and truly, yes, I love those guys dearly, in the back in the locker room, but I love the fans. And, just to see the regulars, and whenever I do take some time away, because unfortunately, right, my shoot job it takes a lot out of me. And so unfortunately I can't make it to Laredo on Monday nights and then come back, make it home about 2 a.m., get up to go to work by 7:30 the next morning. But I'm going to definitely say GCWA and For the Love of Wrestling at the VSR Arena in Laredo.
Nice. As a wrestling fan, this is not as a worker because you already technically are a worker in the business.
Mhm.
Did you ever see yourself using, as you use the term right now, your shoot job? Did you ever see yourself, oh, I caught myself using a wrestling term in my regular vocabulary? Because a lot of people, they're like, oh, this to me is like second nature. But you're already like starting to catch up into the vocabulary of professional wrestling. Like, how does that feel? Like now that you're into the like the only where the elite go, like type of thing. Like you're part of like the family, you know.
Yeah. I think once I started traveling, even as a fan, of course, you guys know my friend Julio. He's one of my best friends. He's been involved. I know he's taking some time off, but he had been involved in the business for quite some time. You immerse yourself so much in it, you start talking in wrestling tongues, for lack of better words. And so there's even sometimes at my shoot job where I use wrestling terms. Like, for example, if I'm praising another worker or another student and I'm talking about it, I'll be like, oh, well, I put them over, or, stuff like that. And sometimes it's so difficult to explain what I mean in exactly those terms. And the best way to say it is using wrestling terminology. And I know I should be better at that, considering I'm a speech pathologist, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel in my take on everything.
I mean, like I said, it's so fun listening to your experience of how you become a fan to now being a worker and where you're wanting to go on, like everything like now is being put together because I've never really had the opportunity to speak to you in person. But I mean
Yeah.
it's fun. Like hopefully this is a platform where we can keep going. Not every week because I know you'll get bored of being on like the mic drop every week, but maybe
No.
occasionally we can get together one more time and just talk about what basically what we grew up loving and enjoying and making the world a better place because I think once we all immerse ourselves into watching professional wrestling, we don't
Mhm.
care about the bad stuff that's going on in the world. We don't care if we're sick that day, if something bad happened to us at our shoot job, but we're just having a great time. And I mean, like I said, hopefully this opens up another platform which the people can see you out there in, like I said, Colorado, New York, California, and be like, hey, you know what? Let's bring Karina to come over here and announce for us.
And I thank you so much, Reyes, for your kind words, because everything to me, whether it be an interview or getting to work in front of fans, whether it be 5 people, 500 people, every opportunity to me, I look at it as a blessing, because ultimately, somebody saw something in me to allow me to do what I love. And, I thank you so much for having me on here. Um, it really does mean the world to me. And of course, whenever you want to have me, I'm always down to talk.
Thank you very much again. So before we go, let the
Yes.
people where they can see you, where they can find you, your not your personal because some people can get crazy, but
A
your
little bit.
social media, like your oh, trust me, I live in Laredo and I've had some people that I've never spoken to, and they're like, "Hey, I'm in Laredo. Where can I go talk to you?" I was like, "Whoa, calm down. Like there's a time and a place. Like we can meet like at a restaurant, but you don't come up flat out and tell me, hey, I want to go meet you because I want some boots from you. Like there's a time and a place. Give us your wrestling social media. That way people can find you and some promoter out there, like I say, can go find you to give you work, not to be stalking you, because we don't do that. Come on, people.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that in the 956, right? Whether it be real or fake, I didn't say that. So as far as social media, I don't have any kind of like separate social media because I do work for a school district. I work with kids. Everything that I do has to be at least PG or more family friendly, right? So
There you go. Don't be crazy.
don't be crazy.
Be polite, because this is not just dealing with one person. You're dealing with a whole faculty that's watching.
Exactly. So my socials, you can find me on Facebook under my real name. So my stage name is actually my real first and middle name, Karina Giselle Villarreal. On Instagram, you can find me at Karina Giselle _. On Twitter, you can find me at Caron_Alime. So at KARONE _ALIME. So like Corona Lime. It's an old nickname from high school. I just never changed it. So I don't think I'm going to change it anytime soon. Got to keep that going. And it's been about 10 years, a little bit over 10 years since I graduated high school and had that name. So I think it's here to stay. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, thank you very much for making me feel old, because you said, it's been 10 years since you graduated high school. I think it's been 22 years since I graduated high school. So thank you very much, Karina, for coming on. Let the mic drop. Like I said, hopefully it's not the last conversation we have. Hopefully it's one of many. And we can, like I said, I've had a great time. I've got plenty of more questions, but I want to save them for later. Let's get the cheese on the nachos right now. We still need the jalapenos and that extra salsa going on. So
yeah, we need the jalapenos, we need the bistec, all of that stuff, because 956.
Yes, we do it crazy here. But again, thank you so much for joining me for these last 25 minutes. I really had a great time, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Reyes. I appreciate it once again. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Martinez, and you're watching Let the Mic Drop, Daddy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express. And when it comes to wrestling and you need gear and you need your instruments to play your band, listen to me. I only go where the best is. And I go to Laredo, to Aces Boots. Check these right here out, man. Good wrestling boots, and they last forever. Don't send your money out of the country to get a pair of boots. Just send it to Laredo. It's Ace Boot Company. Have a good night.
Regresan las máximas estrellas a Laredo, Texas. Celebremos juntos nuestro tercer aniversario. Viernes 29 de septiembre en el Casablanca Ben Center. Lucha Mania presenta Yo hago lo que me da la gana. En la lucha superestelar regresa la pareja más espectacular de la última década y actuales campeones de parejas de Lucha Maniacs. Penta, el Cero Miedo, el Rey Fénix. Defenderán sus campeonatos en un triangular de parejas contra la Orden, Décimos y Juventud Aérea contra la epidemia del momento, Epidemius y Epidemius Junior. Triangular de locura por el campeonato de Lucha Maniacs. El actual campeón, el intrépido Antonio San Francisco, se enfrenta a las máximas estrellas de lucha libre AAA, el megacampeón AAA, el hijo del vikingo y el águila del Río Bravo, Laredo Kid. Y porque esta rivalidad tiene que culminar, se enfrentan Máscara contra Cabellera, Cuervo contra Eric Ortiz. Y porque el público lo pide y nosotros les cumplimos, la tóxica Lady Maravilla defenderá su campeonato ante la sensual Sexy Star. Además llegan las máximas superestrellas, las Chotas, Diva Salvaje y Jess Ventura, la Black Generation, Demonic Flamita y Emperador Azteca y muchas estrellas más. Viernes 29 de septiembre, Casablanca Ben Center, Laredo, Texas. Tienes que ser parte del tercer aniversario de Lucha Maniacs. Entra general desde 20 dolaritos. Informes en el 956-236-1754. No te lo puedes perder.